today we're going to have a look at another one of these pens by Ratnam and Sons. You know the little boxes, I've shown you those before. They have a little fountain pen and a ballpoint on there. The oldest pen maker in India, if I understand correctly, and this pen was sent to me by Iris aus Berlin. Thanks a lot. Of the three pens she sent me, I don't think this one is the prettiest, but I do like it the most. We've already covered these two in the brown and green mottled ebonite. And this one is just black, but I really like it. It comes out of its little plastic sleeve, and then you have the pen. And yes, this is a small pen. I may have fairly large hands, but not that large. What have I got here? This would be a Stipular Model T, which is not the smallest of pens, but you see that this is a really small pen. Here you have my middle finger, and capped, this pen is roughly the same size. So it's not a big pen. I'll take some measurements later. For now, I'll just cover the parts of the pen, tell what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then I'll do a writing sample. Black and gold, classical color scheme. You see the imprint on the clip is not really legible. If you compare that to this one on one of the other Ratnam and Sons pens I've got, you see it's a little less crisp. It says Ratnam Son. You can't really read that, but it's on there. It has a nice little vent hole to make sure the cap doesn't actually draw a vacuum. You got one there and you got one there. As I said, black and gold, you know this color setting from many other pens. Little center band, not entirely flush with the cap, but still nice. The barrel, well, there really isn't much going on there, it's just a barrel. No imprint, no names, whatever. Unscrew the cap. You see it's a really small pen. Uncapped, it's about the size of my ring finger. A very small, cute little nib. And a section that your finger will just fit into. I mean, you see it's dwarfed by the size of my finger. You got the little threads, a little flare there, and actually it's pleasant to hold. Because of that flare, the way it's shaped, your fingers just slip in between the threads and that flare. It's pleasant to hold. But I need to post this because this isn't going to work. The pen disappears in my hand. And if you post it, I'm not going to say it's a decent size because it's not. It's still very small. But it's pleasant to use. I can stretch out my fingers and the pen will still rest on my hand. So that's pretty good. Okay, it's an eyedropper fill pen, which is cool. Because one of the problems with small pens is what filling system do you use? I mean, I have quite a couple of those small pens. And then they either have an aerometric type of sac thing going on, which draws up not a whole lot of ink. Rosetta in their Napoleon pen used a mini converter, kind of like the Monteverde mini converter. These things don't hold a lot of ink. A lot of those small pens just take an international cartridge, which again doesn't hold a lot of ink. But this pen is an eyedropper fill pen, which means that you can fill it with ink from about that point all the way up to that point. And I haven't actually measured it, but it's quite some ink. This thing will write for a while. That's quite cool. Okay, so what do I like about it? What do I not like about it? Well, it's cute. It's portable. You can just slip it in your pocket. It has a screw-on cap, so it won't actually open up in your pocket. I think it looks pretty nice. Looks like a decent little pen. I'm not sure about the material. I have the feeling, actually, there was a bit of the lacquer scratched off, and had the feeling it was wood or something. But maybe it's untreated ebonite. I'm not sure what material this is. It doesn't really feel like plastic, but I just don't know. What I like about it: size, looks, nib writes fairly smoothly. I think of the three pens I got from ES, this one writes the smoothest. Pleasant to use, fairly pleasant to write with. Yes, it's small. Is it the smoothest nib I've ever used? No, of course not. But it's decent. It's nice. All right. Eyedropper fill means it holds a lot of ink. It's just a cool little pen. The only thing that's not too fortunate about it is the name. It's called SS. And as Iris from Germany pointed out, that is not the best abbreviation history-wise. And as she's German, she said for us in particular, you know, it's a bit painful. So I just call this the microscopic. How about that? So the Ratnam & Sons microscopic pen, I think what we need is some measurements and then a writing sample. Measurements, well, it's a small pen, so the whole pen is 91 millimeters capped. Uncapped, it's of course going to be a bit smaller, even smaller. Yep, I have about 80, well, a little over 84 millimeters. Sorry, that is 3 inches and 21/64 of an inch. Diameter at the narrowest point of the section, we get about a good 7 millimeters, which is a little over 18/64 of an inch. And at the widest point, where it actually meets the barrel, whoops, I had, and now I have a good 8 millimeters, and that is about 21/64 of an inch. And that's all there's to it. So I hope this was useful. Let's do a writing sample, and I'll see you later. Bye bye. Alright, so here we go with the Ratnam & Sons SS microscopic. It's a small pen. The nib is fine. The ink is Ackerman Trèves turquoise, and the paper is rhodia, turquoise, like light blue. Alright, a bit of writing. This is pretty smooth. In all honesty, it's pretty smooth. It's really better than I remembered, actually. You get some feedback, but it's not bad. It's fine, definitely fine. Let's do some fast writing. As you can see, the nib keeps up pretty well. Sorry, the feed keeps up pretty well with the requirements of the nib. There's no real skipping. In fact, I think of these Ratnam pens that I got from ES, this one is the wettest. Look at that, beautiful wet line. Now, I have to say, I put in an ink, this Ackerman ink. This is a really wet ink, so there's clearly an interaction there. I think it's pretty nice, and pretty nice wet little nib for such a small nib. Such a small feed. I think that's fairly impressive. What about line variation? Hello. You can squeeze out some line variation. Not a whole lot, but definitely some. And finally, I think we need to do some reverse writing. So you turn the pen around, you get a finer line. Some people do that. When I say turn around, I mean take the nib, turn it upside down. It's still very smooth like this. Not bad at all. You will get some feedback, but it's still pretty nice to use. So, I don't know about you, but I think this is an awesome little pen. Eyedropper, a lot of ink, small, portable, doesn't look too shabby. I think it's a pretty cool pen. It even has a nice little nib. So, that's all there's to it. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.